Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Here we are. I told you I'm coming back. Just switched the studio, and here I am with Andreas. Andreas is one of my friends. I got to know him through ICF Malaysia, I guess, and it was a beautiful, beautiful experience with three Andreases and two Andreas in the same group. So I will forever remember this one. Hi, Andreas. How are you today?
Right. Hello, and I don't know if you can call me Andreas. I dropped the S and I call you Andreas, so it's gonna sound like an echo. Hi, Andrea, I'm good. Hi, Andreas, how are you? I'm good, Andrea. It's a great day to have the same name.
The same name, but you have a very, very difficult last name. So tell us a little bit about this last name first, because I always start with something personal. So where is this name from? And what does it mean in the language where you are coming from?
Oh, that's a great question. It sounds like Vogiatzakis. Some people think I'm half Japanese because it's Yazaki, so Vogiatzaki, but I'm not. I was born and raised in Crete, in Greece, so it's a Greek name from Crete. That's the Akis. And legend has it that my, I guess, grandfather was a painter. So he came from, Vogiatzis means a painter. And I guess that's where it came from. The rest is history. And here I am in Malaysia, hundreds of years later. What do you know?
I love these things. I love the meanings of names and ask about this because we are a diverse summit. So I love to show the different cultures and people. Where are they coming from? We had people from Cyprus. We have people from the US. We have people from Hungary, even my home country. Now they joined this year. So it's really nice to show the people how different, but at the same time how same we are.
That's right, exactly. And there is always a story behind it. I love that question because it's really that story that becomes the icebreaker and takes us into the conversation. So it's lovely. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So we have warmed up already, and then we are here with you. And I would love to the audience also to get to know you a little bit from your professional side, because you are doing so many amazing things and helping so many people, even raising awareness about mental health issues and mental health awareness. So I'm really a fan of yours from the beginning, and people will see it. I'm always curious and interesting people. So let's go further, explore who is Andreas, and tell us a little bit about your profession.
Well, it's funny because I feel exactly the same way about you and dancing, even though I'm not a dancer. But what can I say? Greek, was born and raised in Crete in a small village. I will skip a chapter and I'll say that I fell in love with advertising. I studied that in the States, started my career in New York, and then a complete alignment of stars that I never saw coming brought me to Japan in 1997. And so I've been always in my life an ad man, a media guy, who was crunching numbers and trying to understand the target audiences and make sure the campaigns, the advertising campaigns work. So I've been building businesses in Japan. I was there for 5 years with Starcom and Publicis and Dentsu. And after that, I spent another 5 years in Taiwan, where I restructured Mindshare and launched Group M. And then since 2006, again, the job brought me to Malaysia. And I was with Omnicom for 10 years. And then I established Havas for Vivendi here in Malaysia before joining the Star Media Group as the group CEO for about a year. And when I look back, I've been always that madman clan, the media man, the advertising profession. But what was always in my heart was to really add value and connect with people. And I became a coach, a professional coach 11 years ago. And ever since, that was really in my heart. And when I was thinking what to do last year after I left the Star, while I didn't have a plan really, it sort of emerged naturally. So I thought, this is what I really want to do. And what I do with that company back there, IMV Plus, which I registered last year, in the midst of the worst pandemic in recent history, is to really help transform businesses and people, build agile leaders, make sure that they are equipped with these power skills, as I call them, and that self-awareness, that empathy, that vulnerability, and that ability, because of these things, to build better teams, cohesive teams, and at the same time to be able to be better communicators. So how do we communicate better? I'm an NLP practitioner. I'm doing my master's right now on that. And I believe in communication, and communication done right can really push people forward. And when we move forward, then we take forward our teams, our companies, our society, our countries, the whole world, and it goes like that. And I love doing that. So sometimes I'm thinking, why am I here? And I question that all the time, every single day. And while I don't think I will find the answer until I leave for another stratosphere, while I'm here, I want to make sure that I add value and I become a catalyst for positive change. And that would make me happy. And what you said about mental health evolved to be really in the heart of everything, because I was always aware. And for me, the penny really half dropped with Robin Williams and Anthony Bourdain, where I never saw that coming. And I was very surprised and sad. And more than sad, I was curious on what really drives you there. And I saw a lot of that, not exactly that, but a lot of strife and struggle because of the pandemic, that we had to readjust and reinvent everything, life itself, right? And so I saw that and I thought, okay, what do I do with that? And I've been there myself. The journey is never smooth. You know, sometimes you see the swan, not on that I'm a black one, right? And it swims in the lake, but underneath the feet go like this, right? And it's a lot of panic. And you don't see the struggle. You see the good stuff. People don't want to hear the problems. And
Sorry, it reminds me of the dancing things when I had to smile like this, and you had to do this, and your feet is hurting, and you still have like 5 minutes to go.
Exactly right. And they see you dancing, it's like, wow, how beautiful. But it's not exactly what it is. So I thought, okay, how do we help people? How do we raise that awareness? And it's on two aspects, right? One is for people to really be aware. So if I'm depressed, if I need help, where do I go? And if people that I see and care and they need help, where do I send them? And the second one is to really, with that awareness, remove that stigma. Because if you're sick with the flu, I'll give you a day off to go and recuperate. But you feel bad, I'll be like, come on, compose yourself, and do what you need to do. So there is a disparity there. So yeah, it's been a journey everywhere. Malaysia has been home for the last 16 years. I did my company last year in the middle of all the craziness. I wrote the book and published it. And it's been when you start appreciating things and the toughness when you look back. And that's what you do. You ask questions and you force me to look back. I didn't have this planned, so thank you.
I really love this, and I will be honest with you, I was watching The Mad Men. It's one of my favorite series, and I watched it like already 3 times. And I learned something today while I was listening to you, because I was like, I was an ad man, you said this, and I was never thinking about this, that the title itself was created like this, that ad man and mad man. And I just love this, because I don't read. I like my mind to do the job instead of going after and finding it out. But when I was talking to you, my brain was switching. Okay, ad man, the madmans.
That's exactly it. That's exactly right. Now we have to find something with dancing, right?
Oh, yes. But I love that movie. So if you haven't seen The Mad Men and you want to understand a little bit what's going on or what was going on in the marketing business, and I believe a lot of them is still valid today, because there is kind of marketing community which is still doing the manipulation kind of job. So please watch that and take it as a study, a societal study, because it's really like a good film to watch. Let's go further after this little story of mine. Let's explore the title, because the people already see that today's title video is The Courage at the Crossroads. And there are two important words in this. First, the courage, which is super important in 2021. And then we have the crossroad, which is exactly the situation that we are in, whether like Michael and Wasim was doing a workshop, and they were putting up the matrix as an example, that we are at the point when you have to decide whether you take the blue pill or you don't, because this is the financial matrix coming, and whether you hop on the train. So this is a very beautiful title explaining the situation that everyone is meeting today. So what was your thought behind it? What is your perspective? Because this is just my understanding, and maybe everyone has a different interpretation. But what is the original idea between courage and crossroads? Why these two words?
Well, it didn't start it like this. I have to be frank with that. This is the title of my book, right? Courage at the Crossroads. But when I start putting it all together last August, a year ago, the original title was different. And the idea was a life story to teach leadership and to talk about successes and failures, to talk about values. And when I look back, what brings me here, right? But that was not really the original title. And as I was going through it, chapter, story by story, interview by interview, to put it together, it just evolved. And I thought, wait a minute, when I look back, it has always been unplanned, my life that is. It has always been choices, and many of them were difficult. Some I was hiding. I was in love with math, and my dream since I was 12 years old, was to be a mathematician and get into the mathematics school in Athens, the most prestigious school in the city at that time in Greece. And then I get in and I quit, but I was hiding that from my family. So I become a rebel, and I don't even step a foot to the university. And that was a prerequisite that I didn't know had to lead me to advertising and a life that I didn't plan. And I came to the crossroads many times. I remember that night in Shibuya, where I first, back in 1997, came to Asia. And I was about a month and a half in, and I thought everything is crazy, and I have done the biggest mistake of my life, and I really thought I should leave. Here I am 27 years later. And it came to the point that you come to the crossroads and you have to take decisions. And when you come to the crossroads and you need to decide, what guides you? What are your values? How do you look back to connect the dots you collected, and to really rely on your intuition, your gut, your logic, your heart? And mind you, the heart plays a very important role in all that. But then what's the balance? When you come to the crossroads, when you come down to your knees and you are depressed and you're broken, and you say, what's the meaning of all this? And that happened a lot now in the pandemic, right? With people losing jobs, losing businesses, losing life savings, getting sick, people dying, a lot of people we know. Look what happened in Crete a few weeks ago. The whole village that I grew up has sunk 17 centimeters because of the earthquakes, and it's inhabited now, right? What do you do? How do you rebuild? How do you get up? How do you build that courage in all that mess and say, I win. I choose to win. And that's my choice, because I can control, it's what they say, right? You can't control what happens, but you control how you react to it. And that requires a lot of courage, because it's easy to say, very easy to say, pick up your pieces, keep on fighting, keep on sailing. And on your heart knows when you're dancing and you have 5 minutes to go and your toes are dying and your mouth is smiling, and that's what I'm seeing. And you have to find that courage to keep on going mentally, emotionally, and all of that. So that's that's what really brought it about. And I thought, my goodness, I've been there a few times. And I started the book by saying, I'm not special. I am not. I just posted this guy who has no legs and with his arms, his hands is running, the fastest man on earth on two hands. And I'm thinking, what the hell is your excuse, man? What's your excuse? I don't feel good. But then again, every individual is different, right? We have our experiences, we have our self limiting beliefs, and they talk to us. I have these two people here, yes and no, and they fight with each other. So who wins? I'm the captain of my ship, right? I need to really be in charge. Easy to say, hard to do. So that's really what brought it about. And I thought, okay, when we come to the crossroads and we need to take decisions and pick ourselves up, what do we do? What guides us? And therefore, what's the courage that we can build up looking back to what has happened and what has brought us here? And that's why I always say this story is not special. I just try to make it a little bit more interesting. So hopefully it can really give that clarity to everybody and say, okay, let me look back to my life and see what brought me here and how can I build that courage when I come to the crossroads in order to do the right thing, and do the right thing for me and the people that I care for. It's not easy, it's difficult, but that's what really, really brought it about. That's how the courage at the crossroads came about. And of course, then I wanted to make sure that every time I talk about it, I always talk about mental health because it's directly linked, right? And everything, in fact, starts from within. The body will follow the mind. And if we are strong inside, and if we are courageous for that, then the body will follow. And I have millions of, not millions, exaggeration, but tons of examples to really prove that. So it's how we become internally more self-aware and build up the courage to guide us at the crossroads.
Beautiful message behind, and it's really interesting because I just was speaking to Mariam Sadat from Africa. She was also part of the summit last year, and she's a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, that last year also we had this beautiful panel full of people who had gone through so many hurdles in life. And I actually, that was the point in my life, as I have to say, I have a quiet, nice life, everything is going well. So I was saying, all right, I will never, ever again complain in my life, because listening to these people is just so heartwarming and so empowering that they went through it. They are still struggling with it, but they are already empowering other people. And they are already giving their power away, which is still shaking, but they are giving it away to elevate others. And this is a beautiful,
right.
beautiful treat. That's amazing. I love the story of the book, actually, because you sent me some kind of a summary. So if you allow me, then I will just read it out so that the people get a little bit more insights of the book. So Courage at the Crossroads is a book of leadership and values told in ways that textbooks don't teach. It is the story of a village boy born to replace a brother he had never met, a math university dropout who followed his heart, to an unexpected journey across the world to discover his purpose. So it's really, really nice, and it's summarizing everything so very well together, that you had your hurdles. Here you are, an unexpected family member, basically.
Yeah.
Popping up and replacing someone who couldn't come to the world. And it's kind of like a powerful story that can inspire others. Was it hard for you to open up so much? Because this takes takes you back to the times, to your hurdles. You feel it again.
Yeah.
And it's also internal feelings. Like how could you share that?
You are right. That's such a brilliant question. You're absolutely right. Yes and no. In fact, the first chapter was not planned to be like that, but it evolved to be like that. I didn't really have a very clear framework on what to write exactly. It evolved, and when I finished and I was looking back, then I realized that the first chapter was the most courageous to do, and really talked about that was so suppressed for all the time, all these years. I'm 55. I turned 55 this July, and that's when I launched the book. And it was a little bit difficult, but I thought that it's safe to do. I am at a place that I don't know how you can say it. Maybe you can say I have nothing to lose, right? And maybe that's a powerful state to be in. It doesn't have to be like that all the time, but it's helpful. And of course, there were a whole lot more, which actually I'm have in my mind, and I keep notes. And I wanna write the second one, and I don't know, I will call it AMV Plus Unplugged, and just put it all out. But what it really, really, really did is that when I looked back at the process of putting it all together, it gave me a lot of self-awareness, and I look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what, cut the crap. You know this, and you know that. So it's okay, it's all right. You can keep on doing your song and dance. Understand, there is a lot of anger, build up about a lot of things in a lot of situations. And I'm thinking, okay, this is beautiful because you have the chance to deal with it. So deal with it. See what you do. Yeah, but you're going to fail to really do something out of it. And so it's okay, isn't it? Isn't that what you preach? You train people to be better leaders, vulnerable, empathetic, and all of that. Do you do that to yourself? No, not really. Okay, then shut up and do it. And be okay to pat yourself in the back and say, okay, go fail a little bit and see how it feels and learn. And then come back and do it again. And I have that discussion all the time. No, I'm not crazy. Don't think I'm nuts. But it's a healthy discussion that I think we have to have with ourselves and face our worst demons and say, okay, it's just you and me, buddy. What do you think? Is that good or is that bad? And I'm not saying you're going to do that once and you're going to be like, wow, from now on, I'm going to be Mother Teresa. I'm going to do all good deeds and good things. It's not going to happen that way. It doesn't happen with me. And then you get out there and you screw it up again. You get into a fight. You get angry. And then you say to yourself, okay, try again. You're going to quit this? Like Nick Vogiatzakis says, the man with no arms and legs, he said, I love this. He says, if I fall down 100 times and that 100th time I will not get up, do you think I will ever get up? No. So I have to try one more time, and maybe that will be the time I will get up. So I keep on saying that to myself. So like, don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. And that's how it goes. Yeah. Courage at the crossroads.
I think it's a beautiful message, and a lot of people can be empowered by your message. Also, it's something that I was always struggling with the coaching industry, and always had these thoughts that I could not identify myself with the coaching methodologies and what people do, because when you are not ready yourself and you are not kind of like the role model that people can look up to, how can you, if your actions doesn't show what you are preaching, right, then how can you become a credible person? So I'm constantly working on myself, and I would encourage everyone who is a coach here to not just stop there where you started your coaching, certification or something, but grow inside, grow, not just going for courses which are in your field, but self-exploration courses. Like, for example, for you, I believe this was this book, because once you are stronger, we say it again, back to my methodology in dancing, when you are strong alone, you can be strong together, and the dynamism with other people will be different, because what you can give is much more, and what they can receive is also different. So it creates a very nice intention dynamism, and both of you will grow. But until you are not strong, how could you? There is not enough resource to give all the time, right?
That's right. That's right. And that doesn't mean at the same time that you need to be complete and perfect at something in order to really preach and teach it, but you need to walk it at the same time and try. So, unless it deals with aspects of integrity, because I cannot teach, and I don't think you can teach integrity if you're not practicing it, then you're a fake, right? So you gotta be of integrity to teach about it, or to talk about it. But to be a better coach, that doesn't mean you're always 100% a better listener, and that doesn't mean until you become, you can be a coach. So you have to keep on improving yourself, and it's not always about the money. I mean, it is about that self-awareness that moves us and makes us better.
Yes, the curiosity and the courage at the crossroads.
That's
Exactly.
right.
That's what is leading us to grow.
That's
And
right.
we have been made like this. I mean, humans were always curious.
Yeah.
We have been discovering America, going to different places when we were at the beginning of the history. So it shouldn't just stop here because we are in a digital economy and we are in a different place. It should be the same. We always have to adapt and question things and be curious about the next
Yes.
steps. Andreas, it was an amazing conversation. You know that we are aligned and we will have more conversation very soon when we finally can meet. I hope so. And I'm really happy to feature you here. And I will put your book straight away in the comments. So people, if you're watching today, then here is the book that you can just read.
There you go. That's it. Do I hold it right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book, so let's take it. And I was seeing your posters also. It was very nice in Bukit Bintang. Or where is it?
Yes, it was one in
poster.
Bukit Bintang and one in North Klang Road. But yeah, if you wanna, if anybody wants to take a look, just to make it less complicated, go to amvplus.com. The first pop-up window is that, so it's easy to check it out and do whatever you need to do over there. Just go to amvplus.com, and you'll find it there. Lots of stuff over there, and you can contact me through there or in LinkedIn. If you manage to type my last name, congratulations. You will connect with me for free. You are a brave man or woman. Good on you. So just go do that. And we'll definitely be back for more. Andrea, I want to say thank you before we adjourn. And I want to say that you bring, from everything that I have watched, you bring the best in people, and it's that curiosity to ask the right questions, because we didn't plan. So you ask me stuff that I didn't think about, and you make me think, and that's what you do to all of us. So good on you. You change the world one person at a time. God bless.
Exactly. Let's do that. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for everyone who was watching it and who will watch this video later. Please, if you have any question, don't forget in the live streams. And after it's on replay, you can still put your questions and I will forward those questions to the interviewees, and I will make sure that they are answering all of them. So thank you very much, Andreas. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Andrea. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. See ya. Stay safe.
Goodbye.
Happy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And hello. Here we are switching the guests, and I'm here with Vatsala. So nice to meet you and your beautiful smile. How are you today?
I'm good, Andrea. How are you doing? I enjoyed your conversation with the previous panelists. It's just amazing. Yes, thank you for having me here. I've always been your tribe, so anytime just holler and I'm here. Thank you.
I know. I love what you do on your part, and also with Roslyn and at Mom's Village and all the work. I mean, I just want to feature you because it's all for a good reason. Today we are here to learn a little bit about a very specific topic that I will soon. Let's just let my tongue rest a little bit. So soon I will show it below our picture. But before I do that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Vatsala? And not just the professional part, but a little bit about your personality.
All right. So, I think you already said my name. My name is Vatsala, but most fondly called as Vats. I write a lot in the name hashtag #MomzillaVats on issues that are close to my heart, on motherhood, on gender-based violence, on financial independence. These are like my passion part. Apart from that, I am a mother of two twins, which they're always around my neck. Today I ran away from them, so that's the real part. So in case in between you hear someone screaming at the back, no one is being abused. They're just trying to break into the door and come into the room with us right now. So yeah, that's on my roles and responsibility. Apart from this, I also make sculptures of pregnant bellies, newborns' hands and feet, and also more specifically, I think I also do memorial casting for those who have passed on, and that's something I want to give a value for families and their loved ones to cherish after the loved one has passed on. So yes, across the board, I do so many things, but then these are the things that give rewards me in a different ways of my life. But coming back to what I'm really passionate about is fighting against gender-based violence, and that's what I do. I think something that I just naturally do that. I wake up in the morning, I just go through my messengers, like, okay, there's a message there, and asking. So I automatically do that. Then I say, hey, I have not fed my kids. Okay, let's go and feed the kids first. That's the routine. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. We were just talking about this overloading of the different things that women are doing and or we are doing and we have to do, and it's slowly changing. But in some cultures, it's still big expectation towards women, and we will talk a lot about this. But before, I have to ask this question because you were saying I have two twins. Does it mean you have two twins, or it's two
No,
kids as
actually, it's
one
two
twin?
boys. It's two boys and
Okay.
twins, and yeah, two boys and almost like a whole community I'm actually dealing with. So yeah, just two
I
of them.
remember those little secrets that we had last year. That we had some secret conversations from your wardrobe.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really remember that moment
Those
when you
are
were
the
doing
real
it.
real situations, because it's just easier when you're working from office, because and then you have boundaries, and you like, okay, you're just there present there at that moment. But when you're working from home, you, especially for women, I would say, is that all the other roles are simultaneously played. You are presenting here, and then I remember once my son just walks in and say, "Ma, wash my poop," and I was in the middle of presentation to a Singapore organization. I was like, "Okay, so yeah, excuse me," but this is exactly what women are going through, and data says that women has increased their roles, their workload as much as 2.5%. Sorry, not two times 2.5. So yeah, that's a lot actually. So yeah, but do we have a choice? No.
I would just also say that men have problems with that too, I believe, because they also, they need their distance, they need their calm space. It's we are like this, our DNA is like this. We need that to function at all. So it's really mixing up every family member at the end, the kids, the women, the men, and everyone in the situation. So it's really important to at least talk about it and be more patient about it when it's happening, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that is a very normal family dynamics when everyone play their roles. And of course, when their gender roles are being implied, which we'll be talking about more later on, and that's when it becomes proportionately, debilitating for the women, or maybe even men, if the other part is not playing their role. So it's very important to address these issues, because it contributes to mental health issues that we are currently confronting. It's not easy, so I think it needs to be, thorough intervention needs to be done and managed.
And I think I also want to just connect the two conversations that I had, because before with Andreas, we were talking about the courage and the crossroads, which are different decision situations where you have to choose and you have to go for something. So your way of approaching very societally not so well received topics is really it really needs a lot of courage. So, where do you get your courage and your power to do all these things in a culture which is not really recipient for that, not well receiving? Hi, little one. So nice to see you.
That was very scary to see something walking at the back.
Hi, Auntie Rose. Hi, hello. It's not Rose. Rose is not here. It's Auntie Andy here right now. Hi, Auntie Andy.
Okay, so right. Okay, so where were we? Yeah. Yes, the topic that I have chosen to fight for apparently is not widely spoken about, but it is an issue that is debilitating. Gender-based violence, and I specifically work on the area of intimate partner violence, or domestic violence and spousal abuse and all that. And why here? Because I have lots of women who are coming forward and. Andrea, you just have to give me 30 seconds. I'm going to be coming back soon.
It's all no problem. We are very flexible. It's a real show, so people see that we have real people here. So until Vatsala will come back, I will just tell you a little bit about what's coming next. So we will have a little bit of break after this interview with Vatsala, and I go have my dinner and have a little bit of break and do some background work before we come back at 7 p.m. Malaysia time, which will be already morning in the US and also available for South Africa and Europe. And we will come with Golamari Alish, one of my friends here from Malaysia, who is a student who is also empowering other students. And then straight after that, we will have Damilare from Africa, and we will also have a workshop with Angela Eimer. And straight after that, one panel discussion, the second one this week, about fostering partnerships from connection to collaboration. All right, so after I told a little bit about today to the audience, let's go back to the topic of today, and now I will reveal it on the screen. So we are here with Vatsala, and we will talk about gender education for eliminating gender-based violence and community-coordinated response. So this is already the title that we all have to understand. So let's start at the beginning. Gender education, what does it include? What's the definition?
All right. As far as gender education, a lot of times, like I said, I was talking about what women getting connected to, and initially it's just a problem. We thought that they're having issues managing their time, or they're having issues communicating their needs and addressing their pain and so on. However, you realize that they would, probably you give them some advices. Okay, go and uh, see them and see this person, or go connect to this person for counseling, but you see that they keep coming back. And why they keep coming back, and then you see there's a pattern in that conversation that you have with them. Why are you coming back? Because of domestic violence, and there are few aspects of it which gender role comes in. So when gender role comes in, it's as if like, I have so much to do, but I have no help from another person, or I am expected to do this, but I am unable to do this, and then I become an invalid person in that relationship. I'm devalued. I'm and so on and so forth. So those are like aspects of domestic violence. And there's two definitions. We have sex and we have gender. So sex is mostly like the what are we assigned at birth. Our physical attributes. Um, uh, Whether we are male or female, and that's it. But then there's a gender which comes in, which it's involved as a socially constructed, I would say, like it's a social construct by itself. And how do you differentiate this? For sex, it refers to the biological and physiological attributes of it, and then for gender, it refers to the social or cultural or behavioral and the emotional differences between men and women. And like I said, sex has two main categories, male and female, and then the gender has whether you're more masculine or more feminine. So you can be a man and you can be more feminine, or you can be even a woman and you can have more masculine sides. So sex is determined at birth, and it's inherited at birth. And gender is influenced by, again, social, cultural, and the behavioral factors. And gender is flexible term, and its role can be changed by time and cultural. So when women can perform men's role, like women can become leaders, which usually is like, no, those leadership roles are always imagined like a man's role, or women can become police officer, we can protect people, and so on. So men also can adopt to women's society, social duties like feeding and caring for kids and all that. So, sometimes when I used to do activity or for my gender-based violence training, I'll ask them to list, okay, come now, let's list down all the attributes of men, and then let's list down all the attributes of women. And you can see that, for men, they'll be like, okay, man has to be strong, masculine, economical contributor and all that. And then for the female, they always say there's empathic, okay, and more empathic and more feminine and so on. And then when I ask them, okay, let's switch the man role and female's role to each other, and then you see that, can women be masculine? Yes, they can. So it's all this our gender, it's a social construct by itself based on our cultural, what do you call that, conditioning, or our belief system that, while we were growing up and so on and so forth. So yes, and coming back to why I am, passionate about this gender education, I think that is a fundamental. If you educate people about, what basically gender is about, and you would not discriminate other person just because they are not the same as you, or they don't have the same identity as you, or the same belief system as you, and just accept them because they are themselves and you are yourself, and that's it. And because of all this cultural and societal belief which is imposed, it sort of forms communities. And when communities are formed with gender stereotyping and gender discriminative mindset, and that's where all this gender-based violence comes in. So that's like a cycle that we're going on. There's only one way to stop gender-based violence, is to educate everyone on this gender differences and gender education.
I love the point, and it reminds me I was trying to find this advertisement that I saw that they were talking about different things, and then when they were talking about those things in this, it was kind of like an experiment. Then every single person in the room was associating it with a man.
Mm-hmm.
So every single thing that they said, they thought it's a man. And then at the end, it revealed that it was about a lady. And no one thought about. So there are specific things when you mention them, like empowerment, right? That people think about women. But there are specific things when it's about leadership or it's about any other things. The man comes first into the mind of many, many people, not just men, but women. And it's really interesting how it plays with the mind.
Absolutely. I do agree with that. In fact, today I just saw an advert whereby it was like an appraisal meeting, and then they say Komal is, Komal is would like to give a promotion for Komal, and Komal used to meet someone, and they always felt like it was in a sense where, okay, those people around in the table, they were thinking that it's the women, and then when they say, okay, call Komal in, and then a man walks in, then it's like, okay. So that's why when we're talking about something, it's so often that we feel the weaker or the vulnerable ones, though it's right, but we always put women in that imagination or the perspectives, and then the more masculine or powerful authority, and then we put men there. And then when women hold those leadership positions, we say that she's bossy. Where else when men do that, and then they feel like, oh no, it's acceptable because men are naturally leaders. And yeah, these are the things that have been infused in our belief system due to our cultural or societal upbringing as well.
Where does gender education start? Let's stick to this word still because there's so many things around this to understand. So where does it start? Does it start in the family, in school, in society? Is it a small picture? Is it a big picture? Where does it start, the conditioning?
Unfortunately, Malaysia don't have a specific topic on gender education alone, which I feel should be included as part of their sex education, and it should come as like a module as part of sex education and so on. But ultimately, gender education will start at home with families. Like with my sons, we do have conversations, because every day is a what do you call that, like a battlefield for me. And they'll be watching a cartoon and they'll be like, okay, that's for girls. I like, which part of it that's December that's girls for you? And then he needs to answer me back. And when he has no answer, he realized that it is wrong. Like especially like colors. Those pink colors are for girls, and cookings are for girls, and those kind of things that gender marketing, I would say, which are imposed on advertisements and even cartoons. Thankfully, we are coming out from that, but there are still cartoons, children programs, but that promotes this gender in a like very stereotyping way. So, and my younger one, I have twins and all. They're 1 minute younger. So, one loves cooking, and he really adores me when I'm putting on some makeup, and very empathetic, very nurturing, and all that. And the other one is a little bit more analytical and so on. So I have to teach them that both these characters are acceptable because it's them. It's about their authenticity and their own interest, and neither is this is for girls or this is for boys. So it starts from the mother or the father, the parents, the family. That's the first part that comes in, and to be able to do that, individuals have to be have to take that with the responsibility to know about about these differences between sex and gender, and the stereotyping and so on. So yeah, it starts from home, definitely.
So that's already, we defined where it starts, and it's very important for the parents to be aware and also educate their kids and create a safe place to talk. I believe that's also something very important, that they will be not scolded if they are talking about something related to the topic. But it's also the second word here, which is kind of like a stronger expression, gender-based violence. So we all know that not only women get hurt, right? But when women get hurt, they are really hurt because of the physical state of the women, because we are created like this, that most of the women are smaller and more vulnerable than a man. So what is this? What does it what exactly is the correct definition of gender-based violence? Because you are working in this field for such a long time, and what does it, how can you realize it, what it is, or when it's happening?
All right. So why is it called gender-based violence? Because it's done on that specific gender, because of that gender. I think that summarizes it. It's done onto women because she is women. She is vulnerable. She deserves to be treated such way. And this again comes back to their own belief system, their own cultural and the gender discrimination mindset, or the beliefs that it's she deserves to be done that way. And not only talking about women alone, we're also talking about transgenders and so on. So it is done onto them because they deserve it, or they are it's done onto them. And of course, sometimes you also get this thing like men to get abused, and that's, I cannot deny that. But currently the numbers are alarming. If you're talking a 1 out of 10 men being abused, 1 out of 3 women are being abused worldwide. And look at the number proportion. Before pandemic is 1 in 4, and now currently it's 1 in 3, and that number is very alarming. And why exactly are we focusing on women? Because just like our COVID pandemic right now, because proportionately people are being affected, proportionately people are dying, the mortality rate is high. So hence why it needs more focus and intervention, and widely spoken about as compared to the other gender. So yes, that's why we call it gender-based violence, done onto that specific gender because of the gender and the power of control dynamics and so on.
And I really love that you mentioned the transgender community. Last year, we were doing a video with Jules Wong about how diverse we are, and we had some collaborations. And I know I was there talking to them that, especially in Malaysia, it's just such a sad story what's happening to them, and they're not treated as humans. And I would love to raise awareness about this, that next time when you meet them, please think twice and don't see what you normally see because of your conditioning, but try to see the human behind the person who is standing in front of you before you do anything, because it's just really sad that there are some people who still are hunted, and people go after them, and they are really violated openly. And I'm really encourage everyone to read a little bit more
I
about
do
it,
agree with
to
that.
be aware of it.
Some of them, even though some of these transgenders opted to be sex workers, it's not your rights to discriminate them. Looking at the whole journey, when they have decided they're going to be a transgender, their families abandon them. They lack this education access. Even the communities abandon them. They're not part of the community. So where do these people go? Where do you expect them to go? And then the only acceptable or few of acceptable chores or professions they are allowed to take out because of the gender based violence, or is sexual workers, and a few, we don't open opportunities for them, and then you blame that they are ruining communities and all that. No, it's we are ruining our own community. Let's not put the blame onto other people. And yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
I love this. I love this message behind, and I was just wanting to put like a parallel here. Like when a girl runs away, and for some reason she doesn't find any place, and she starts to work in this kind of environment, we are holding their hands and we try to get them out. But when someone else, like a transgender, is going into the same situation, you don't think about the little girl or the little boy or the person in the problem. You see something else that you have been conditioned to see, and it's not really, maybe it's not even your belief. So I would even go there, that we should just break the beliefs again and start with a new narrative when we're talking about this. Let's not be like too specific, because we could go into the details and we could talk about this for hours and hours. I believe we are on the same page here. We have one more word and one more expression here to explain. It's the community coordinated response. And I know you do a specific thing for them, and it's really interesting how you approach this problem. Tell us a little bit more about the community coordinated response for gender-based violence.
all right. So we know that when you talk about domestic violence and so on, or even gender-based violence, we always focus on the victim, and then we don't focus on where it matters. Oftentimes it's where the enablers or the bystanders who just look and pretend like they don't want to get involved. And there's another part is the perpetrator, right? So first of all, I think of course the best way to deal with this whole gender-based violence is that focusing on the perpetrator, and that includes I think punishment is one of it. But in Malaysia, for domestic violence, you have amazing act and so on and so forth. But then it's just removing a victim and waiting for another victim to be placed there, because you see, when they go into court, the perpetrator is the economical contributor. They have the money to pay the bail and come out. It's not a problem for them. But the victim, who has been financially dependent on the perpetrator, she needs to start all over again. And it's not easy to start all over again with the PTSD that you have gone through. And and then you have to think about, where do you place your children, if it's going to come back and harm you. Thinking about work, how are you going to pay for rental, car, tuition fees, childcare? It's not easy. Are government subsidizing for all this? That's another question we have to debate later on. But then this is all that we have. I think Malaysia, unfortunately, we don't have better intervention program, which is currently we are creating a module, hopefully, which we can implement another few years to come, hopefully, in partnership with UKM and so on. So that's focusing on the better. And the only way to focus there and put them responsible is using policy making. Make sure the policies, amendment or on the legal aspect of it, and so on and so forth. So yes, so all that is the higher hierarchy. What about us? What about the community? When last year, when COVID came, the pandemic and MCO and so on. Oops, sorry. Okay, sorry. All right. So with the pandemic and all that, it was, I couldn't go out and save out people, and then how many of them can actually come out and ask help, because they were afraid, if I'm going to take my child out, I'm going to expose her or him to viruses, and I don't want my child to suffer. And then I need help, and how am I going to ask for help? And during MCO, you were locked down, and it feels like sitting down with a pressure cooker. And it means that the more frequent cycle of abuse is going to happen. You're going to feel fearful being around your perpetrator. And then I realized that this one campaign called Bell Bajawa that was done in India was very effective, whereby it's a community coordinated response, whereby whenever they hear cries of abuse, what they would do is that the neighbors would just go and ring the bell and then pretend to ask something, or just like, do you have electricity, or what's the time, this is your letter. No, it's just making some anonymous kind of conversation, but then it sends across a very strong message to the perpetrator. You see, you're being watched. You know that I didn't come here and ask you whether you have electricity or not. I do know that we have electricity at home, or what's the time, or you have sugar or milk at home. But then I am watching you, and every time you're going to, with your wife or your spouse is going to scream, I'm going to come and ring the bell, and you're being watched. And a more important message for the victim, whereby I have came forward, I came forward for you, and I'm a safe space for you to come and ask for help. And that's the courage. Courage is something that victims usually lack because of that conditioning. No one believes her, everyone blames her. What have you done? You have done something, that's why he or she has hit you. And tell me what you have done. From that mindset coming out to say, I'm going to trust you no matter what you say, come forward and ask for help. And that is exactly what I replicated with a movement called Ring a Ring for Roses, whereby ring a bell or ring 15999 to make a report, because I don't know where the location is. Sometimes they just randomly send me message, I'm here, and then by the time you reach out to them, their phone is probably taken away or broken and so on. So but the neighbors would know. The exact address, and I think no other better person who would be better to make a report than the neighbors themselves. But then there were this bystander mindset. It's not my problem, no, not my circus, not my monkeys, and I don't want to get involved with there. And then thankfully last year there were a lot of conversations about domestic violence alone, a lot of awareness. We even have a famous YouTuber, you know, filing in for domestic violence and all that. So all this gave me an opportunity to talk about it, why we should intervene. You see, domestic violence is not a family problem. Intimate partner violence is not a family problem. And because we are so often looking away, it supports those crimes from happening. And it's not only about abuse, it's also talking about murder, rape, which is all part of the rape culture pyramid. And when even as far as we know that recently we had even rape culture, rape jokes, which a lot of time they think it's funny. It is not funny. Rape jokes are not funny. It is very discriminating. And when we actually speak about it, we need to speak about it so that other people knows that we should not be accommodating to that or enabling that, and instead fighting against it and being a voice out that this is not acceptable. It stops right here. I think these are the really important ones, and community plays a very important role, especially currently, because victims, with the pandemic, post-pandemic, everything has changed. The financial crisis has increased, the emotional stress, the mental stress, all this have increased in folds. And the only way we can combat this is using a community coordinated response. And there again, ring 15999 or ring a bell, come forward. If we can only do this together, because doing it alone is very difficult, especially for victims.
I really love this project, and I put here the advocacy Ring a Ring for Roses. So if you want to search for it, I believe you can reach it through Mom's Village, right? Your original organization, and it's running under that, right?
Yes, we also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page for that. Ring a Ring for Roses. So
just like with the hashtag, right? Ring a Ring for Roses.
No, it's without the hashtag.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can just type Ring a Ring for Roses without the hashtag here, and then on Facebook you will find the community and you will find the help. And I believe if they search for this hashtag on Instagram, they will also find you, and they can see what you are doing, and they can reach out to you. Beautiful, beautiful conversation. We could go on and on, but I have to make a little break before I start my evening session. It was really nice to have you here and see the real Watsi and see the kids around and showcase your beautiful work. And I know you are doing amazing jobs alone and with Rosalind also, Auntie Rosalind, at Mom's Village, building this digital village for women. So I'm really salute you. Keep on doing the good work, and we will meet you at another panel discussion later. And thank you very much for being here today. And thank you for the audience who is watching us or who will watch us later with the replays. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Andrea. It's such a great pleasure. You are doing wonderful things, and I really salute you. I have no idea. I know how tiring is it to run an online summit, and you are doing a wonderful job. Don't ever doubt yourself. I'm so proud of you. Keep it going, and we are here with you.
Thank you very much, and see you very, very soon. And for the audience, have a beautiful evening, and see you soon. It's around 7 p.m. in Malaysia time, and it will be morning for the US already, and also afternoon for South Africa and Europe. So keep on watching us, keep on watching the YouTube channel, and you'll find every other information on the website. So thank you very much, and bye bye, Watsi. Have a beautiful day.
You too.